Why do blue-collar guys hate their wives? Because as somebody who has recently gotten married, is in the trades, and comes from a family of tradesmen, I have opinions about this. And as somebody who also happens to own a camera, I'm going to share those opinions with people who didn't ask for it, like my uncle on Thanksgiving. Over the past week or so, I've seen a lot of videos in my TikTok feed showing up that look like this.
Boy, you ain't ever worked a day in your life. Day in life. 8 hours a goddamn day. What the fuck does this bitch want now? Hello?
And obviously these kinds of videos are hyperbolic, but only to an extent, like only a little bit. I don't know if this experience is the same for everybody, but for me, it really seems like that blue collar men, whether that's plumbers like me, construction workers like I used to be, restaurant workers like I used to be, factory workers like I used to be, really just any job or occupation that doesn't require a degree, they fucking hate their wives. They're also bitter and resentful, and if you're not, they'll try and convince you that you should be, which is a really strange thing to do to somebody. Oh, you're happy? That shit's not gonna last. Of course, this isn't a black and white thing. It's never a black and white thing, but the disdain that working class men seem to have for their wives, or even their children for that matter, is notable. Like, it's crazy. Let me give you a little bit of context as to why I'm making this video. From the time that I was a little boy, just a wee lad, it was ingrained into me that women just hold you down. You know, the old ball and chain, the old ball and chain. You know, like I ride BMX, and I remember being at the skate park as a kid and listening to the older guys in the scene just complain about their wives constantly. Like say things, like say nasty shit about their spouses. Constantly. And the more life experience that I got, whether it's from riding my bike, traveling, all these people that I was starting to meet as I became a teenager and as I started to grow up a little bit, I started to kind of get the idea, hey, I better not get married or else I'm going to become miserable and jaded like all of these people. So when I started dating my wife in high school, I really had no intention of getting married. But that was 10 years ago, and we got married last October. Over 9 years of dating before I decided to marry her because I was afraid of making some life-ruining decision, which was the smart thing to do. More people should approach marriage that way. But when I got engaged, the day that I proposed, that was one of the best days of my life. If I had a time machine, I would go back in time and I would relive that day over and over again on the sand dunes and the Outer Banks. It was magical, with the sun setting in the background. Magical. And I remember being so happy and so excited to share the news with everybody that was in my life. And when I got back to Ohio and I started going back to work, this is when I worked at the chemical plant at the time, I just got nothing but I'm sorry's from every single man. Say goodbye to your freedoms, say goodbye to your wallet, your wife has sucked her last dick. Like, it was nothing but weird stuff like this. Just guys manifesting a terrible marriage. And obviously some of these guys were joking and it wasn't that big of a deal, but some of them were like pretty serious and were trying to talk to me like I had just made some terrible decision and they wanted to try and talk me out of it. Like, oh, it's not too late. You're not married yet? It's not too late. You can still call it off. Say goodbye to your manhood. Which is really embarrassing. I don't know about you, but I wouldn't be caught dead saying that to anybody because it's such a big reflection on me if I just go around talking shit about the partner that I chose to spend the rest of my life with. Not saying that everything has to be perfect. No relationship is perfect. Mine certainly isn't either. We turned out the lights. But it's pretty close. And it took a lot of time for our relationship to grow into what it is today, and that's why we decided to get married. When I left the chemical industry and I went back to plumbing, it was the same thing there. I remember sitting in during a meeting before work one morning, and the entire company was there. It was like 8 people. It was a small family business. And somebody who was close to me looked at me and said, "Hey, isn't the wedding coming up? Are you getting excited?" Not everyone sucked. But there were a couple of guys who were sitting around me and they heard that. And they look at me and they go, "Oh, are you getting married?" And I go, "Yeah, in October." And they respond, "I'm sorry," like just face down in their phones. "Oh, I'm sorry, man." Do you fucking losers even like your wives? You know you're the one who asked them to marry you, right? Like these poor goddamn women. Like I know some women suck, some people's marriages go downhill. I understand that shit happens. Like not everybody can be a princess. But did you not know who you were marrying? Were you guys only dating a year and a half and then you decided that you would get married because it was the only girl that you thought you might have a lasting chance with, and then 10 years down the road you realize that you're not as aligned as you thought you might be? Like I don't understand. I get to spend every day with my best friend, somebody who shrinks my worst qualities and builds up my best. The thing that's interesting that I've noticed is that you don't really see this in more successful men. Put your pitchforks down. I know that there's plenty of successful blue collar men. I mean, just look at this gym. No, but for real, there's plenty of successful, well-rounded guys in the trades. But a lot of the guys in these industries or in the trades, they aren't exactly playing with a full deck, if you know what I mean. They haven't made the best life choices, things haven't turned out the way that they thought they would, and I think they get married before that bitterness and resentment sets in, and as they grow older, they try and find something to blame for their, as they see it, shortcomings, and I think their wives are just the easiest targets, which is super sad. Oh, life didn't work out the way I wanted it to, I'm gonna take it out on my wife. That's the reality for so many women. Every time people would act like my life was ending because I was getting married, like, oh, you're losing your freedom, you're getting put on a leash, I would just ask them, who the fuck are you guys marrying? Why are you marrying these women? Cause it couldn't be me, bro. It could not be me. I mean, I think a lot of it just comes down to people getting married for the wrong reasons, like societal pressure or wanting to raise a family before it gets too late. Not wanting to be alone, security, people not knowing who they're marrying or who they're looking for in a partner, or even not knowing themselves for that matter, which is a big part of the reason why I wanted to wait until my mid-20s to get married. I knew I loved her right away, but it would have been a lot riskier to get married at 20 than 26 because there was going to be a lot of change and a lot of growth that was going on in our early 20s for both of us, and we wanted to make sure that we could get through that as a couple. We all grow over time, and successful relationships have built-in respect for the relationship itself, which allows each person to expand, grow, and share within its safe confines accordingly. Maybe I'm just lucky, I don't know. But if my wife and I weren't friends first, with overlapping interests and tastes, with room to grow and do whatever we wanted to do, then we never would have gotten married in the first place. We wouldn't have even been dating this long. It's obviously a complicated issue, but a lot of guys just get married to the wrong fucking girl too soon. Then 10 years down the road, they start throwing shit out like, I'm sorry, and it's cheaper to keep her to anybody who they think is about to make the same mistake. Anyways, just felt like talking about this. I'll see you later. Bye.